on the secret of divine prosperity. Few know. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything in life while others constantly struggle with scarcity? Why do certain individuals attract money like a magnet, while others work tirelessly and remain in the same financial situation? The answer you're about to discover could completely transform your relationship with abundance and reveal the true secret of divine prosperity hidden right in front of you. Get ready, because this isn't just another motivational story. What you're about to hear in the next few minutes contains a truth so powerful about how the universe operates financially that it could revolutionize your economic life forever. And I need you to stay until the end, because the most transformative insight is reserved for the final moments. There's an invisible force governing every aspect of our prosperity, and when you understand how it works, your financial life will never be the same. But before revealing this secret, let me share a story that changed my perspective on money, abundance, and divine purpose. Imagine a fertile valley where the mountains touch the sky, a place where nature whispers secrets of abundance to those who know how to listen. In this extraordinary valley lived a man named Roberto, an ordinary man like you and me, who was about to discover one of the most powerful laws of universal prosperity. Roberto lived modestly, but unlike most people who complain about a lack of money, he possessed something rare: unwavering faith in divine providence and genuine gratitude for everything he had. Roberto's house was simple, his bank account small, but his heart overflowed with a wealth few can comprehend. He woke every morning giving thanks for a roof over his head, food, and health, while most people wake up complaining about what they don't have. And here's the first secret of divine prosperity I want you to engrave in your heart. Gratitude is the gateway to all financial abundance. Roberto ran a family business with his son Miguel, raising and selling special horses known for their extraordinary intelligence and beauty. Among all the horses, there was one named Estrella, a magnificent animal as brilliant as its name suggested, which not only helped with work, but brought a prosperous energy to everything it touched. Estrella wasn't just a horse. It was a symbol of the abundance Roberto had cultivated through his faith and dedicated work. Word of Estrella spread quickly, reaching the ears of a city magnate, businessman Augusto Montenegro, known for his immense wealth and ability to get anything he wanted. Montenegro personally visited the valley with an offer that would make anyone lose sleep. An astronomical sum, enough for Roberto to never worry about money again for the rest of his life. But here's where something defies conventional financial logic. Roberto, looking into Montenegro's eyes, politely declined the offer. The news spread through the valley like wildfire. People couldn't believe it. Comments flew from mouth to mouth. Roberto's lost his mind. It was the chance of a lifetime. He'll never get an opportunity like this again. This man knows nothing about business. And you, listening to this now, what would you do in that situation? Would you sell immediately or trust in something greater? Comment below what your decision would be, because your answer reveals a lot about your current prosperity mindset. But the story was just beginning. A few days later, something inexplicable happened. Estrella simply vanished, gone as if carried away by the wind. Roberto and Miguel searched for days, scouring every corner of the valley, but found no trace of the magnificent animal. The community's malicious tongues found fresh fuel for their criticism. "See?" they said with cruel satisfaction. "Roberto couldn't even hold on to what he had. Now he's lost everything and gained nothing." Miguel was devastated. His young heart couldn't comprehend how something so valuable could simply disappear from their lives. With tears in his eyes, he questioned his father. "Dad, we've lost our greatest wealth. How can you remain so calm? Shouldn't we be desperate?" Roberto placed a hand on his son's shoulder and spoke words carrying the wisdom of generations. "My son, there's a cosmic dance between loss and gain, between what leaves and what comes. True prosperity isn't in what we possess, but in how we trust the divine flow of abundance." Miguel didn't fully understand, but something in those words touched his heart in a way reason couldn't explain. And then, as if the universe wanted to teach the most important lesson about divine prosperity, something miraculous happened. One morning, while working the land that sustained their family, they heard a familiar sound. It was Estrella galloping toward them, but not alone. He brought with him a herd of 7 wild horses, each more beautiful than the last, as if a direct gift from the heavens. The entire valley was in shock. The same people who had ridiculed Roberto now called him blessed, lucky, favored by the gods. But Roberto remained as serene as ever, neither overly euphoric nor arrogantly proud, just calm gratitude. "Maybe Estrella went to find his family," Roberto said simply, "and now we're all more prosperous." And here's one of the deepest secrets of divine prosperity I want you to note. When you operate from genuine trust in the divine plan, the universe conspires to multiply your abundance in ways your limited mind could never imagine. Roberto hadn't lost a horse. He'd gained an equestrian empire. Miguel began working with the new horses, training them, developing skills he didn't even know he had. The farm, which once barely provided a living, now had the potential to become a thriving business. But the universe wasn't done teaching its lessons about the true nature of wealth. During the taming process, one of the wild horses threw Miguel, causing a serious fracture in his leg. The pain was intense, and once again critical voices rose. "See? Those horses brought a curse to the family. Roberto should have sold Estrella when he had the chance. Now his son is injured, and they're worse off than before." Miguel, immobilized by pain, questioned his father's wisdom again. "Dad, this time something truly terrible happened. How can we see anything good in this?" Roberto held his injured son's hand and responded with a depth only someone who's weathered many storms could have. "Son, divine prosperity doesn't work like an ordinary market. It operates through cycles, through apparent losses that turn into unexpected gains. Have faith in the process." Then something no one could have predicted happened. A devastating economic crisis hit the entire region. Businesses collapsed, investments were lost, and families lost their savings overnight. Montenegro, the same magnate who tried to buy Estrella, lost much of his fortune in risky speculations. The government implemented drastic measures, conscripting all healthy young men in the region for economic recovery projects that would take them away from their families for years. But Miguel, because of his broken leg, couldn't be conscripted. While other young men were forced to leave their homes and family businesses, Miguel stayed by his father's side, continuing to develop the horse business. During the crisis, when many needed reliable transportation and alternative means of livelihood, Roberto's farm became one of the region's few stable sources of income. Entire families came to Roberto, no longer to criticize, but to seek advice on how he managed not only to survive, but to thrive in such tough times. With tears of gratitude, they said, "Roberto, you're truly blessed. While we lost everything, your family found stability. Teach us your secret." Roberto gathered Miguel and, looking at the community around them, said, "See, my son, the broken leg that seemed like a tragedy was actually divine protection. The loss of Estrella that seemed like a disaster turned into multiplied prosperity. Every apparent setback was actually a redirection toward greater abundance." And here's the most powerful revelation about divine prosperity that can transform your financial life forever. The universe doesn't operate according to our limited logic of immediate gains and losses. There's a higher intelligence orchestrating events that our conscious mind can't comprehend in the present moment. When we learn to trust this process, we align with forces that lead us to levels of abundance we never imagined possible. Miguel finally understood the profound wisdom his father had been trying to teach. "Dad, I get it now. True prosperity isn't about controlling outcomes, but trusting the divine process. Every challenge we faced was preparing us for greater abundance." Roberto smiled with the pride of a teacher seeing his student finally awaken to the truth. "Exactly, my son. Divine prosperity works through seemingly contradictory cycles. What seems like loss is preparation for gain. What seems like an obstacle is a redirection to opportunity." Now, I want to ask you directly, how many times in your life have you interpreted a no as rejection when it was actually protection? How many times have you seen a closed door as failure when it was the universe guiding you toward a much bigger door about to open? Comment below a situation in your life where you later realized something that seemed bad was actually a blessing in disguise. The deepest lesson from this story isn't just about patience or abstract faith. It's about a scientific and spiritual truth few understand. There's an organizing force in the universe constantly working in our favor, even when we can't see the full picture. Modern neuroscience confirms our brain is constantly processing information our consciousness doesn't perceive, making decisions based on patterns our analytical mind can't grasp. Similarly, there's a divine intelligence processing information about your prosperity that your limited mind can't access. When you align with this intelligence through gratitude, trust, and inspired action, you begin operating on a frequency of abundance that attracts opportunities, people, and resources in ways that seem miraculous to outsiders. Roberto wasn't simply lucky. He had developed a divine prosperity mindset based on universal principles anyone can apply. First, he practiced genuine gratitude even in the most challenging circumstances. Second, he maintained unwavering faith in the process even when results didn't make immediate sense. Third, he kept working and taking inspired action, regardless of external appearances. These three pillars, gratitude, faith, and inspired action, form the foundation of all genuine prosperity. But there's a fourth element, perhaps the most important: detachment from specific outcomes. Roberto wasn't attached to keeping Estrella in a specific way. He wasn't attached to his son staying healthy in a specific way. He trusted the universe was orchestrating situations for the greater good of all involved. And here's a question that can reveal a lot about your current financial mindset. Are you trying to control how abundance should come into your life? Or are you open to receiving prosperity in ways you can't even imagine? Your answer determines whether you're limiting or expanding your possibilities for wealth. The truth is, most people sabotage their own prosperity because they're attached to specific scenarios of how money should arrive. They want a raise in their current job but aren't open to starting their own business. They want to win the lottery but aren't willing to develop skills that would attract investors. They want to inherit money but aren't building genuine relationships that naturally lead to prosperous partnerships. Roberto teaches us that divine prosperity flows through unexpected channels to minds that are open and hearts that trust. When you stop trying to control exactly how abundance should manifest and start focusing on becoming a person who naturally attracts prosperity, the universe finds 1,000 different ways to make wealth flow toward you. Now let me share 3 specific practices you can implement immediately to align your life with the principles of divine prosperity. The first is what I call active financial gratitude. Every day, upon waking, instead of thinking about what you don't have, spend 5 minutes giving thanks for all the abundance already in your life. Be grateful for the money in your wallet, however little. Be grateful for your ability to work. Be grateful for every bill you can pay. This practice reprograms your brain to focus on existing abundance, creating a vibrational frequency that attracts more abundance. The second practice is daily inspired action. Every day, take at least one concrete action toward improving your financial situation, but do it from inspiration, not desperation. It could be sending a resume, developing a skill, networking, creating content, or studying investments. The key is that it's an action aligned with your purpose, not just a desperate grab for quick money. The third practice is confident detachment. Whenever you're working toward a specific financial goal, end your actions by mentally affirming, "This or something better will manifest in perfect timing." This powerful phrase frees the universe to bring even better opportunities than you imagined while keeping you in productive action. But there's something even deeper I need to share. Roberto's story reveals a truth that may sound controversial to many. Sometimes the universe needs to remove us from seemingly prosperous situations to place us in situations of genuine abundance. Montenegro offered quick money, but if Roberto had accepted, he would have missed the opportunity to build something far greater and more sustainable. How many times in your life have you turned down opportunities that seemed sure things because something inside you said there was something better waiting? And how many times have you regretted not trusting that intuition? Comment below if you've experienced a situation like this, because I'm sure your story can inspire others facing similar dilemmas. The truth is, there's a wisdom within you that knows exactly which opportunities align with your prosperity purpose, and which are merely distractions disguised as blessings. Roberto had developed the ability to listen to this inner wisdom, even when all external logic said otherwise. And that's a skill you can develop too. How? Through the regular practice of mental stillness. Every day, dedicate a few minutes to simply being in silence without distractions, asking your higher self, what's the next wisest step toward my prosperity? And then, have the courage to follow the guidance you receive, even if it doesn't make immediate sense to your analytical mind. The story continues to teach us that Miguel, after understanding these principles, became not only a valuable partner in the family business, but a leader in his community. He developed innovative equestrian training methods that attracted clients from distant regions. The simple farm transformed into a regionally recognized riding academy. What began as an apparent tragedy revealed itself as the foundation of a thriving family empire. And here's a powerful question I want you to reflect on deeply. What apparent tragedy in your life might actually be the start of your greatest prosperity? What challenging situation are you facing now that could be the exact redirection the universe is creating to lead you to a completely new level of abundance? The answer to that question could be the key that unlocks all your future prosperity. Because the difference between people who remain in scarcity and those who achieve genuine abundance isn't the absence of challenges, but the interpretation they give to those challenges. Prosperous people see obstacles as opportunities in disguise. People in scarcity see opportunities as obstacles in disguise. Now imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you truly applied these principles. Imagine waking up every day with genuine gratitude, knowing every experience is contributing to your greater prosperity. Imagine making important decisions not based on fear of loss, but on trust that the universe is constantly creating even better opportunities. Imagine working with passion and purpose, knowing your efforts are aligned with cosmic forces that multiply results. This isn't fantasy. This is the reality available to anyone who chooses to operate according to the principles of divine prosperity. Roberto wasn't special because he was born with supernatural gifts. He was special because he developed a mindset most people consider impossible, the ability to trust the divine process even when all external evidence suggested otherwise. And you know what's the most amazing part? The more you practice this trust, the more evidence the universe provides that this trust is justified. It's as if there's an intelligent force constantly testing your level of faith in abundance, and the more you demonstrate that faith through your actions and attitudes, the more that force reveals itself through synchronicities, opportunities, and resources that appear exactly when you need them most. But let me be completely transparent with you. Applying these principles doesn't mean you'll never face financial challenges again. It means you'll develop the ability to navigate those challenges with wisdom, turning every apparent setback into a launching pad for even greater prosperity. Roberto and Miguel continued to face situations that tested their faith, but each test strengthened them and prepared them for even higher levels of abundance. Years later, when Roberto was recognized as one of the most prosperous and wise men in the region, young entrepreneurs came from afar to learn his secrets. And you know what he always said? Prosperity isn't in what you accumulate, but in what you become. When you become a person aligned with the universal laws of abundance, external wealth is just a natural reflection of internal wealth. This phrase contains a revolutionary truth that can completely transform your relationship with money. Most people try to change their external circumstances, hoping it will change how they feel internally. Truly prosperous people do the opposite. They first transform internally, aligning their thoughts, emotions, and actions with the principles of abundance, and then their external circumstances naturally transform to reflect that inner change. This means your future prosperity doesn't primarily depend on external factors like the economy, your boss, your education, or your current family situation. Your prosperity depends primarily on your ability to apply the universal principles Roberto discovered: genuine gratitude, trust in the divine process, consistent inspired action, and wise detachment from specific outcomes. Now, I want to issue a direct challenge to you. For 30 days, commit to consistently applying these principles. Every morning, practice active financial gratitude. During the day, take at least one inspired action toward your prosperity. At night, before bed, surrender all outcomes to the universe with confidence that everything is unfolding perfectly for your highest good. And here's the most important part of the challenge. Write down all the synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and positive changes that start appearing in your life. Because when you start paying attention, you realize the universe is constantly sending signals and creating opportunities, but most people are too busy focusing on what they don't have to notice what's being offered. But maybe you're thinking, this sounds beautiful, but what if I really need money urgently? What if I have overdue bills? What if my situation is more complicated than Roberto's? These are valid questions, and the answer is surprisingly practical. The principles of divine prosperity aren't incompatible with urgent practical action. In fact, when you operate from these principles, your ability to take effective action increases dramatically because you're no longer paralyzed by fear or anxiety. You can simultaneously work intensely to address immediate challenges while maintaining faith in the larger process unfolding. Roberto never stopped working hard on his land. He never stopped being practical and responsible, but he did it all from a foundation of trust, not desperation. And that difference in energy completely changes the quality of your results. Action based on trust attracts opportunities. Action based on desperation repels opportunities. So even if your situation is urgent, start applying these principles today. In fact, urgent situations are the best laboratories for testing and strengthening your faith in divine prosperity. It's easy to trust the universe when everything's going well. True growth happens when you can maintain that trust even in the most challenging moments. And you know what happens when you develop this ability? You become virtually financially invincible. Not because you'll never face challenges again, but because you've developed the skill to turn any challenge into an opportunity. You become like Roberto, someone who sees possibilities where others see problems, someone who finds solutions where others find only obstacles. As this story comes to a close, I want to leave you with the most important reflection of all. Roberto wasn't a fictional character living in a fantasy world. Roberto represents the potential within every human being, the ability to live in harmony with the universal laws of abundance, transforming every experience into fuel for even greater prosperity. You have within you the same wisdom Roberto demonstrated. You have access to the same divine intelligence orchestrating the seemingly contradictory events in your life. You have the same ability to trust the process, even when your mind can't comprehend the full picture. The only difference between you and a life of genuine prosperity is your decision to start applying these principles today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when your situation improves. Today. Because the universe is waiting to show that your trust is justified, but it needs you to take the first step of faith. So here's my final invitation to you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life a year from now, consistently applying the principles of divine prosperity. See yourself waking up with genuine gratitude, working with clear purpose, making decisions from divine inspiration, and trusting completely in the larger process unfolding in your life. Feel the peace of knowing you're aligned with forces constantly working in your favor. Feel the joy of discovering that every apparent obstacle is actually an opportunity in disguise. Feel the abundance flowing into your life in ways you never imagined possible. This vision isn't an impossible dream. It's the natural result of applying the universal laws of prosperity Roberto discovered. And those laws are available to you right now. Now I want to hear from you. What was the most powerful insight this story awakened in your consciousness? What change will you implement first in your financial life? Comment below and share your prosperity journey, because your story might be exactly the inspiration someone else needs to take their first step toward genuine abundance. And if this message touched your heart and you feel others need to hear this truth, don't keep it to yourself. Share this content with people you love who deserve to discover the secret of divine prosperity. Because when you share abundance, you multiply your own abundance. Always remember, you're not here by accident. You're not facing your current challenges by chance. You're exactly where you need to be to awaken to your own magnificence and discover that the prosperity you seek externally already exists within you, waiting only to be recognized and expressed through your unique and precious life. The universe is conspiring in your favor right now. Trust the process, apply the principles, and prepare to witness financial miracles that will confirm you are always destined for a life of extraordinary abundance.